You wake to silence, not the silence of peace, but the silence of isolation, the kind that settles in mountain retreats far from the fronts, far from the cities, far from where decisions matter most. It's June 5th, 1944, sliding into June 6th. You're in the Berghof, high in the Bavarian Alps. The air is thin here, cold even in summer. The walls are thick, the windows are small. Everything designed to keep the world out, to create a bubble of control in a world spinning beyond control. But before we go there, before we step into that particular kind of darkness, are you settled? Really settled? Check your pillow, adjust your blanket, make sure you're comfortable, because where we're going tonight, comfort will be in short supply. The story you're about to hear isn't about heroes on beaches or soldiers in bunkers. It's about something quieter, something stranger, a man sleeping while the world changes, a man waking to news he can't quite believe, a man making decisions or failing to make them while thousands die. So settle in, let the day fall away. And if you're listening from somewhere far away from Melbourne or Manila or Mexico City, know that we're all here together in this moment. Different time zones, same story, same history unfolding in your ears while you drift towards sleep. Tonight, we're not on the beaches, we're in the mountains, in the rooms where power lived, where maps covered walls and telephones brought distant wars into quiet hallways, where one man's sleep, one man's hesitation, one man's certainty that he understood everything would help seal the fate of millions. It's late, past midnight. June 6th has technically begun, though nobody in the Berghof knows this matters yet. The clocks tick, the guards patrol, the staff moves quietly through hallways, careful not to disturb, because he is sleeping. Adolf Hitler, 55 years old, Führer of the Third Reich, Supreme Commander of the German Armed Forces, the man who started this war, the man who believed he could win it. Currently unconscious in his bedroom, drugged into deep sleep by phenobarbital, while across Europe, in the darkness over Normandy, thousands of paratroopers are dropping from transport planes. He doesn't know this. Can't know this. He's asleep. The Berghof sits at roughly 1,000 meters elevation, Obersalzberg, near Berchtesgaden. The complex is large, sprawling, multiple buildings, guard posts, barbed wire. The whole area is restricted, has been for years. This is more than a house. It's a fortress, a seat of power, a place where Hitler comes to escape Berlin, to escape the war, to pretend for brief moments that everything is under control. His bedroom is on the second floor, large bed, heavy furniture, dark wood. The curtains are drawn, always drawn. He doesn't like morning light, doesn't like being woken by the sun. His sleep schedule has been bizarre for years. Stays up until 2 or 3 in the morning. Sleeps until 10 or 11, sometimes later. The entire apparatus of the Third Reich has adapted to this. Meetings are scheduled for afternoon. Briefings after lunch. The war runs on his personal rhythm, or tries to. Tonight, this night, he took his sleeping medication around 11 p.m. Dr. Morell prescribed it. Theodore Morell, his personal physician, a man who provides pills for everything. Energy pills, digestion pills, pills for the tremor in Hitler's left hand that's been getting worse, pills to sleep, pills to wake, a pharmaceutical cocktail that keeps the Führer functioning, or so Morell claims. Others in the inner circle have doubts, but Hitler trusts Morell, believes in him, takes whatever he prescribes. The phenobarbital is strong, very strong. It produces deep, dreamless sleep, the kind where the world disappears completely, where hours pass in what feels like seconds, where you wake groggy, confused, slow to orient yourself. It's effective, maybe too effective. Because on this particular night, while Hitler sleeps his drugged sleep in the Bavarian Alps, the Allied invasion of Europe is beginning. The staff knows to be quiet after he retires. Everyone knows. The secretaries, the adjutants, the servants, the guards. You don't make noise. You don't run in the hallways. You don't slam doors. The Führer needs his rest. He's under tremendous stress. The war in the East is a grinding nightmare. The war in Italy is collapsing. The bombing of German cities continues night after night. The Atlantic Wall is supposedly impregnable, but everyone knows an invasion is coming. The only questions are where and when. Hitler has opinions about this. Strong opinions. He's studied the maps, analysed the intelligence reports, discussed the possibilities with his generals, some of them anyway, the ones he still trusts, the ones who haven't been dismissed or reassigned or worse. He believes the invasion will come at Calais, the Pas-de-Calais, the narrowest part of the English Channel, shortest distance, best ports, most direct route to Germany. It's logical, obvious. The Allies might try feints elsewhere, diversions, raids, but the main blow will fall at Calais. He's certain of this, so certain that he's positioned his strongest forces there. The 15th Army, well equipped, well prepared, ready. The fortifications at Calais are the most formidable section of the Atlantic Wall. If the Allies come there, they'll be slaughtered, thrown back into the sea. The invasion will fail, and then maybe Germany can focus everything on the east, deal with the Soviets, end this two-front nightmare. But the Allies aren't coming to Calais. Not tonight. Tonight, right now, they're coming to Normandy. 5 beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. Names that mean nothing yet. Names that will be written in blood before the sun rises. And in the Berghof, in the darkness, in the drug-induced oblivion of phenobarbital sleep, Hitler knows nothing about any of it. The first reports arrive around 2 a.m. Phone calls to OKW, Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, the High Command. Something is happening. Paratroopers, lots of them. Dropping inland from the Normandy coast. Reports are confused, scattered. How many? Where exactly? What's the objective? Nobody knows. Could be a raid, could be a diversion, could be the start of something bigger. The officers on duty take notes, try to assess, try to understand. They don't wake Hitler. The standing orders are clear. Do not disturb the Führer unless it's an absolute emergency. And this at 2 a.m. with only fragmentary reports doesn't yet qualify. It's confusing. Might be nothing. Might be a feint before the real invasion at Calais. Best to wait for more information. Let him sleep. Inform him in the morning when the picture is clearer. So the reports come in and are filed and discussed quietly among staff officers in rooms far below where Hitler sleeps. The situation develops, grows. By 3 a.m., it's clear something major is happening. Gliders landing, bridges being captured, communications being disrupted. By 4 a.m., naval bombardment is reported, heavy shelling of the Normandy coast. By 5 a.m., the shelling intensifies. By 6 a.m., dawn is breaking and landing craft are hitting the beaches. And Hitler sleeps. His bedroom is quiet, the air is still. His breathing is slow, regular, deep. The phenobarbital has done its job. He's completely unconscious. No dreams, no awareness, no sense that across occupied Europe, the largest amphibious invasion in history is underway. That thousands of ships are off the Norman coast. That thousands of aircraft are overhead. That the Atlantic Wall, his Atlantic Wall, the fortress he believed would stop any invasion, is under assault. Outside his room, the Berghof continues its quiet routine. Guards patrol the perimeter. The kitchen staff begins preparing for the day ahead. Secretaries arrive for the morning shift. Everything normal, everything routine, except it's not. Because in France the war is changing. The strategic situation is transforming. And the man who needs to make critical decisions, who needs to authorize the movement of armoured reserves, who needs to respond immediately to this crisis, is unconscious in a bedroom in the mountains. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel isn't at his post either. The Desert Fox, the commander responsible for the Atlantic Wall defences, he left yesterday, drove to Germany. His wife's birthday is today, June 6th. He wanted to be there. Also wanted to meet with Hitler, wanted to argue once again for the panzer divisions to be moved closer to the coast, wanted authority to use them immediately if an invasion came, but Hitler wouldn't give him that authority, didn't trust him completely, thought Rommel was too independent, too willing to make his own decisions. So Rommel is on the road, somewhere between his headquarters in France and his home in Germany, out of contact, away from his command. At the worst possible moment, von Rundstedt is the overall commander in the West. Gerd von Rundstedt. Old, experienced, cautious. He's at his headquarters. He's getting the reports. Understands something big is happening. But he doesn't have authority to commit the armoured reserves either. Only Hitler can do that. Only the Führer. And the Führer is asleep. The panzer divisions are inland. The 12th SS Panzer Division, Panzerlehr Division, the 21st Panzer Division closer to the coast near Caen. These are the units that could, possibly, throw the Allies back into the sea. If they move immediately, if they hit the beachheads before they're consolidated, before the Allies bring up reinforcements and supplies and establish a firm foothold, there's a window, a brief window, maybe 6 hours, maybe 12, but it's closing. Every minute the panzers sit idle is a minute the Allies use to dig in. But the panzers can't move without authorization, and authorization has to come from the Führer, and the Führer is asleep. Around 7 a.m. the sky over Normandy is full of aircraft. Allied aircraft, fighters, bombers, transport planes. The Luftwaffe is nowhere. Where are the German fighters? Where are the bombers that should be attacking the invasion fleet? They're gone, destroyed, transferred east, pulled back to defend Germany itself from the British and American bombing campaign. There's almost nothing left for France. A few scattered squadrons. Not nearly enough. Von Rundstedt requests permission to release the panzer reserves, sends the request through channels to OKW, to Keitel and Jodl, Hitler's closest military advisors. They receive the request, look at the reports, discuss. Should they wake him? It's past 7 a.m. now, still early. He usually sleeps until 10 or later. He'll be angry if they wake him unnecessarily. But this is an invasion. This is important, isn't it? They decide to wait a bit longer. Let him wake naturally. The reports are still confused. Nobody's certain if this is the main invasion or a diversion. Hitler has been saying for months that Calais is the real target. That Normandy would be a feint. Maybe he's right. Maybe they should wait for more information. Make sure before they disturb him. Let him rest another hour. What's another hour? everything. Another hour is everything. But they don't know this yet, don't understand, so they wait. In the bedroom, Hitler stirs slightly. The medication is beginning to wear off. Not quickly, slowly. The phenobarbital lingers in the system, makes waking difficult. He's not fully conscious yet, just shifting, turning. The deep sleep becoming lighter sleep, but still sleep. On the beaches, men are dying. Americans at Omaha are being cut to pieces by German machine guns. The Atlantic Wall is working there. The bunkers, the obstacles, the mines. It's a slaughter. The water is red. Bodies float in the surf. The sand is covered with wounded and dead. It's the worst of the 5 beaches. The Americans are pinned down, taking massive casualties, but they keep coming, keep pushing. Because that's what you do. That's the mission. Get off the beach. Move inland, no matter the cost. At Utah Beach, it's different. The landing went off course, ended up in a lightly defended area. The Americans are getting off the beach relatively easily. Casualties are light. They're moving inland quickly, linking up with paratroopers. The Atlantic Wall at Utah was strong, but they landed in the wrong place, or the right place, depending on perspective. Lucky. Sometimes luck matters more than planning. The British beaches, Golden Sword, are somewhere in between. Heavy fighting, significant casualties, but progress, steady progress. The British are experienced, professional. They've done amphibious assaults before. North Africa, Sicily, Italy. They know how to coordinate naval gunfire with infantry advances, how to use armour, how to keep moving. The learning curve has been steep, paid for in blood, but they've learned, and now they're applying those lessons on the beaches of Normandy. Juno Beach, the Canadians. They hit rough water. The landing craft were delayed, hit the beach later than planned. The tide was higher, more obstacles submerged. Dangerous. Mines and stakes hidden underwater. Landing craft hitting them, exploding, sinking. Men drowning before they even reach the sand. But the Canadians are tough. They fight through it, take casualties, keep pushing. By mid-morning they've penetrated farther inland than any other force. Further than the British, further than the Americans. The Canadians are deep into Normandy, and the German defenders are falling back. Surprised, overwhelmed, calling for help that isn't coming. And in the Berghof, in the mountains, Hitler is beginning to wake. It's slow, gradual. His eyes open slightly, close again. Open. Where is he? What time is it? His mind is foggy. The drugs. Always the drugs. He needs a moment, needs to orient himself. The room comes into focus. His room, the Berghof. Morning light around the edges of the curtains. What day is it? Tuesday, June 6th. Right. His wife's birthday. No, wait. Not his wife. Rommel's wife. Rommel went home for his wife's birthday. Right. That's right. He lies there for several minutes. Doesn't move. Just thinks. Or tries to think. The phenobarbital makes everything slow. Thoughts move like they're swimming through mud. He needs coffee. Needs to get up. But his body is heavy. Reluctant. The tremor in his left hand is there. Always there in the mornings. Worse than usual today. Stress. The war. Everything weighing on him. The responsibility. The burden. The knowledge that millions depend on his decisions. That the fate of the Reich, of Europe, of civilization itself rests on his shoulders. Or so he believes. So he tells himself. Daily. Hourly. The weight of it. The crushing weight. He finally sits up, reaches for the bell, rings for his valet, Heinz Linger. The door opens. "Good morning, my Führer." Linger's voice is neutral, professional. He's been Hitler's valet for years, knows the routine, knows not to be too cheerful in the morning, knows Hitler is slow to wake, needs time, needs to be handled carefully until the medication wears off and the coffee kicks in. "Prepare my clothes," Hitler says. His voice is rough, dry. He needs water, coffee, something to cut through the fog. Ling nods, leaves, returns with the uniform, the usual uniform, field grey, the swastika armband, the iron cross, everything in its place. Hitler dresses slowly, methodically. Every button, every detail. Image matters, even here, even when only the staff will see him. He is the Führer, has to look the part, has to project strength, authority, control. Even when he feels weak, tired, uncertain. It's past 9 a.m. by the time he's dressed. Downstairs his adjutants are waiting. Nervous. They have news, big news. How do you tell the Führer that the invasion has started, that it began hours ago, that he slept through it? You do it carefully, respectfully, and you hope he doesn't explode. Hope he doesn't fly into one of his rages, doesn't start screaming about incompetence and betrayal and how nobody tells him anything. You've seen it before. Everyone has. The sudden shift from calm to fury, from rational discussion to incoherent shouting. It's unpredictable, frightening, even for those who've been around him for years. Hitler comes down the stairs, walks to the breakfast room, sits. They bring food, toast, eggs, plain. His stomach can't handle much else. Digestive problems. More pills for that. Morell's remedies. Coffee. Black. He drinks. The caffeine helps. Starts to cut through the fog. He's more alert now, more present. The world coming into focus. The morning taking shape. One of the adjutants approaches. Major, maybe. You can't see his face clearly in the memory. Just the uniform, the nervousness, the careful way he holds himself. "My Führer," he says quietly. "There are reports from France, Normandy. It appears the invasion has begun." Hitler looks up, chews, swallows. The invasion. He's been expecting it. Everyone has. For months. The only question was where and when. Now they know. Normandy. Interesting. Not where he expected. Not where he prepared. But interesting. "When did it start?" he asks. His voice is calm, curious, not alarmed, not panicked, just interested. Wanting information. Wanting to understand. "During the night, my Führer. Paratroopers first. Then naval bombardment at dawn. The landings began around 6:30 a.m. Hitler nods, thinks, during the night, so hours ago. He slept through the beginning. Nobody woke him. He's not angry about this. Not yet, maybe later. But right now, he's focused on understanding, on analysing, on figuring out what this means, what the Allies are doing, what their plan is, what he needs to do in response. "Where exactly in Normandy?" he asks. 5 beaches, the adjutant says, along the coast between Cherbourg and Caen. American forces at 2 beaches, British at 2, Canadians at 1, coordinated assault, large naval force, heavy air support, 5 beaches. Significant. That's not a raid, not a feint. That's a major operation. But is it the main invasion, or is it a diversion before Calais? He's thought about this scenario, discussed it. The Allies would want to split German attention, draw reserves away from Calais, then hit Calais with the real force. Classic strategy, deception, misdirection. Make the enemy look one way while you strike from another. He studied military history, knows all the tricks, all the patterns, and he's not going to fall for it. "What's the strength?" he asks. "How many troops?" The reports are still incomplete, the adjutant says, but it appears substantial. Many landing craft, strong naval support, estimates range from 50,000 to 100,000 troops already ashore or landing. Hitler finishes his coffee, wipes his mouth, stands. Let's go to the map room. Need to see this. Need to understand the full picture. Can't make decisions based on verbal reports alone. Need to see the maps, see the positions, see where the enemy is, where our forces are, what the situation actually is. The map room is down the hall, large space, tables covered with maps. France, the Atlantic Wall, unit positions, everything marked with pins and symbols. His staff is already there, waiting. They stand at attention when he enters. Wilhelm Keitel is there, chief of OKW, a yes man, never disagrees, never questions, loyal to a fault, or perhaps loyal because he lacks the spine to be anything else. Hitler has known this for years, keeps Keitel anyway, because loyalty matters, even spineless loyalty. Alfred Jodl is there too, chief of operations, more competent than Keitel, actually understands military strategy, can read maps, can analyze situations, but also knows when to keep quiet, when not to push too hard. Survival in Hitler's inner circle requires this, requires knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to advise and when to simply agree. It's a delicate balance. Jodl has mastered it. "Show me," Hitler says. They gather around the map of France. Someone points to Normandy. The 5 beaches are marked: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. Jodl explains what they know. Paratroopers dropped here and here, behind the beaches, disrupting communications, capturing bridges, causing chaos in the rear areas. Then the naval bombardment. Massive. Hundreds of ships, thousands of guns, pounding the coastal defences for hours. Then the landings, multiple waves. The Atlantic Wall forces are engaged, fighting hard. But the Allies are establishing footholds, getting off the beaches in most areas, moving inland. Hitler studies the map. His eyes move across the coastline. Normandy. His finger traces north, to Calais. That's where they really want to go. That's where the best route to Germany is. This Normandy operation, it's impressive, well executed. But it's a diversion. Has to be. The real invasion will come at Calais. Probably soon, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. They want him to commit his reserves to Normandy. Then they'll hit Calais while he's out of position, while his mobile forces are stuck fighting in Normandy. Classic. Textbook. He's not that stupid. Not that easy to fool. "What's happening at Calais?" he asks. "Any activity?" "Nothing reported," Jodl says. "No unusual activity. Reconnaissance shows normal patterns. No increase in aircraft. No unusual radio traffic. Nothing that would indicate an imminent assault." Hitler nods. Exactly. Because they're waiting for him to take the bait, waiting for him to send the panzers to Normandy, then Calais, then the real invasion, the main blow. He's not going to give them that satisfaction, not going to fall into their trap. "The reserves," he says, "the panzer divisions, where are they now?" Keitel steps forward, consults his notes. The 21st Panzer Division is moving toward the British beaches, moving on its own initiative. The division commander, General Feuchtinger, made the decision without waiting for authorization from OKW. Hitler doesn't comment on this, doesn't approve or disapprove, just files it away. Initiative is good, but only when it's the right initiative, only when it aligns with his strategy. If Feuchtinger is wrong, he'll pay for it later. The 12th SS Panzer Division is near Caen, Keitel continues. Ready to move, waiting for orders. Panzer Lehr division is further back, also ready, also waiting. The other armoured divisions are positioned throughout France. The strongest concentration is still near Calais, where Hitler insisted they be placed, over Rommel's objections, over von Rundstedt's objections. But Hitler's will prevailed, as it always does. And von Rundstedt? Hitler asks. What does he want to do? He requests permission to commit the reserves, Jodl says. He believes this is the main invasion, that we should counterattack immediately before the Allies consolidate, before they bring up more forces, before the beachheads become unbreakable. Von Rundstedt is old, Hitler says. Cautious. He sees threats everywhere. He's been fighting too long, lost his edge, lost his nerve. This is exactly what the Allies want us to think, that this is the main effort, so we commit everything, strip Calais, send all our mobile reserves to Normandy. Then they hit Calais, and we have nothing left to stop them. No, we don't fall for it. We wait, we watch, we assess. Perhaps, my Führer, Jodl says carefully, but the scale of the Normandy operation is significant. 5 beaches, large naval force, substantial air support, thousands of paratroopers behind the lines. It's possible this is not a diversion. It's possible this is the main invasion. Hitler turns to look at him. Jodl meets his gaze, holds it for a moment, then looks back at the map. It's as close to disagreement as Jodl will risk. A suggestion, a possibility raised, but not an argument, not a challenge, just another perspective offered for consideration. That's how it works. You can suggest, you can offer alternatives, but you can't insist, can't demand, can't push too hard. That's the line, and Jodl knows exactly where that line is. We wait, Hitler says. We don't commit the reserves yet. Not until we're certain. Not until we see what develops. The Atlantic Wall forces can handle this. That's what they're there for. That's what we built the wall for. Let them fight. Let's see what the Allies do next. Let's see if they try for Calais. Then we'll know. Then we'll commit. Silence. Nobody argues. Nobody points out that the Atlantic Wall is static defence, that it can hold for a while but not forever, that the whole point of the Panzer reserves is to counterattack quickly, to hit the enemy while they're vulnerable, while they're still organising, while they're still weak, that every hour of delay makes success less likely, makes the enemy stronger, makes the eventual counterattack more costly and less effective. Nobody says any of this, because you don't contradict Hitler, not directly, not unless you're ready to lose your position, or worse. My Führer, Keitel says, perhaps we should at least put the reserves on alert, ready to move if needed, so they can respond quickly when the order comes. Fine, Hitler says, alert status, but no movement, not yet. Not until I give the order. Make that clear. Nobody moves without my authorization. Nobody. It's a compromise, a half measure. But it's something. The orders go out, the Panzer divisions are told to prepare to move, but not to actually move. Just prepare. Be ready. Stand by. Wait. Frustrating orders. The division commanders know this. They can feel the opportunity slipping away, can sense that time is critical, but orders are orders, and the orders come from the Führer, so they wait. On the beaches, the battle continues. At Omaha, the Americans are still pinned down, still dying. But slowly, gradually, in small groups, individuals are making it across the beach, finding gaps in the defences, getting to the seawall, starting to work their way up the bluffs. It's chaos, it's hell, but it's progress. Tiny incremental progress. One man at a time, one squad at a time, moving, advancing, refusing to quit. At the other beaches, the situation is better. The Allies are off the sand, moving inland. The Atlantic Wall's first line of defence has been breached at 4 out of 5 beaches. Only at Omaha is it still holding, and even there it's beginning to crack, beginning to give way. The German defenders are fighting magnificently, doing everything they can, but they're outnumbered, outgunned, and most critically, they're not being reinforced, not being supported. The reserves are sitting idle, waiting for orders that don't come. Hitler returns to his breakfast. The food is cold now. He doesn't care. Eats anyway. Needs the fuel. His mind is working, calculating, trying to read the enemy's intentions, trying to see through the fog of war, trying to understand what Eisenhower is thinking, what the plan really is. He's done this before, made strategic decisions based on incomplete information. Sometimes he's been right, sometimes brilliantly right. His decision to attack through the Ardennes in 1940. Everyone said it was impossible. The terrain was unsuitable for tanks. The roads were inadequate. The generals were skeptical, even his own generals. But he insisted, overruled them, and he was right. France fell in 6 weeks. The Wehrmacht swept across France like a scythe through wheat. One of the great military victories in history. His victory. His decision. His genius. So he trusts his instincts. Trust his analysis. He studied Napoleon. Studied Clausewitz. Studied Frederick the Great. Read their works. Absorbed their lessons. He knows strategy. Knows how to read a battlefield. Knows how to anticipate enemy moves. And his read is this. Normandy is a diversion. Calais is the real target. Hold the reserves. Wait. Be patient. Don't react emotionally. Don't let the Allies dictate your moves. Stay calm, stay focused, wait for the real attack, then strike with everything. But what if he's wrong? He doesn't allow himself to think this. Doesn't entertain the doubt. Can't afford to. Because if he's wrong, if Normandy is the real invasion and he fails to stop it, then the war in the West is lost. Germany will be fighting on 2 fronts, East and West, with the Soviets pushing from one side and the Americans and British from the other. Unsustainable, impossible. The Reich will be crushed between 2 massive armies, slowly, inevitably, grinding toward defeat. So he can't be wrong. Therefore he's not wrong. The logic is circular, comforting, dangerous, but necessary, because doubt is paralysis. Doubt is defeat. He has to be certain, has to project certainty. The entire system depends on it, on his will, his conviction, his absolute confidence that he knows best, that his judgment is superior, that following his instincts will lead to victory. The morning passes slowly. More reports come in. The situation in Normandy is developing. The Allies are expanding their beachheads. Casualties are heavy on both sides. The Atlantic Wall forces are fighting well, taking a toll on the invaders, but the Allies keep landing troops, keep bringing in supplies. The logistics are impressive, overwhelming. The number of ships is astounding. Hundreds, maybe thousands. The ocean is covered with them. Destroyers, cruisers, battleships, transport vessels, landing craft by the hundreds, all coordinated, all working together, moving troops and equipment from ship to shore in a continuous stream, relentless, unstoppable. Around midday, Hitler goes for a walk, outside. The weather is beautiful. Clear sky, mountains in the distance. The peaks still have snow, even in June. The air smells of pine and wildflowers. It's peaceful here. Quiet. Hard to believe there's a war. Hard to believe that a few 100 kilometers away men are killing each other. that the fate of nations is being decided on beaches and in hedgerows. That history is being made right now. While he walks in the mountain sunshine, he walks slowly, hands behind his back, his left hand trembling slightly. He ignores it, thinks. A few staff members walk with him, at a respectful distance, not speaking unless spoken to. This is his thinking time, his processing time. They know better than to interrupt, know better than to intrude on his thoughts. Normandy. The more he thinks about it, the more convinced he becomes. It's a diversion. Has to be. The Allies are clever, sophisticated. They've been running deception operations for months, years even. False intelligence planted through double agents, fake radio traffic from imaginary armies, dummy units positioned opposite Calais, inflatable tanks, plywood aircraft, all designed to make him think the attack would come at Calais. Elaborate, expensive, time-consuming. Why go to all that effort? Why invest so much in deception? Unless they really are planning to attack at Calais, unless they want him to think the deception is pointing toward Calais so he'll discount Calais and leave it weakly defended, then they hit Calais after all. Or maybe the simplest explanation is the correct one. Maybe they're attacking at Normandy because that's where they want to attack, because it offers advantages, weaker defences than Calais, less concentrated forces, better landing beaches in some areas, longer coastline to spread the defences thin. Maybe there is no grand deception beyond making him think Calais. Maybe Normandy is exactly what it appears to be. The invasion. The real invasion. The only invasion. He dismisses this thought. Too simple. The Allies aren't simple. They're sophisticated, experienced. They've been planning this for years. Eisenhower, Montgomery, Cunningham, Bradley. These are not amateurs. These are professionals. They've studied amphibious warfare, practiced it. North Africa, Sicily, Salerno, Anzio. They've learned from their mistakes, refined their techniques. They know what they're doing, and what they're doing includes deception, elaborate multi-layered deception. They wouldn't just attack the obvious target without some twist, some trick. There's a trap here, a trick. He just has to figure out what it is. Lunch is served around 1 p.m. Hitler eats little. His appetite is poor these days. Stress, the stomach problems, the medications affect his digestion. Everything affects his digestion. He picks at his food, some vegetables, a small piece of bread, drinks more coffee. The caffeine helps him focus, but it also makes him jittery, makes the tremor worse, can't win, needs the alertness but pays for it with the shaking, with the nervousness, with the racing thoughts that won't slow down. More reports arrive during lunch. The British have taken a small town, Bayeux maybe, or was it another one? Hard to keep track. Small villages with French names. They all sound the same. Somewhere inland from the beaches. A few kilometres. The Canadians are pushing toward Caen, making good progress, better than expected. The Americans at Utah Beach have linked up with paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne. The pocket is expanding. The beachhead is growing. The situation is fluid, chaotic, but definitely developing. Not collapsing, not being contained, expanding. And at Omaha, someone asks? Omaha is still difficult, Jodl reports. The Americans are taking heavy casualties there. The defences are holding better than at the other beaches, but the Americans are getting off the beach now, slowly, in small groups. But they're making progress. So all 5 beaches are being breached, Hitler says. All 5. That's significant. That takes resources, takes commitment. They're not just testing the defences, they're pushing hard, committing forces, building momentum. Yes, my Führer, Jodl says. Hitler stares at the map, thinks. Maybe Jodl is right. Maybe this is more than a diversion. Maybe this is... No, can't think that way. Can't second-guess himself. Made the decision. Stick with it. Calais is still the target. Normandy is the feint. Just a very elaborate feint. Very convincing. But still a feint. Von Rundstedt sends another message. More urgent this time. He needs the reserves. Needs them now. The Atlantic Wall forces are being overwhelmed. The Allies are bringing in more troops faster than the defenders can respond. Without armoured counterattacks, the beachheads will consolidate, will connect, will become a continuous front. The opportunity to throw them back will be lost, is being lost, right now. Every hour that passes makes success less likely. Please authorize the release of the Panzer reserves. Please. Hitler reads the message, folds it, sets it aside. Von Rundstedt is panicking. Old men panic. They lose their nerve. They see disaster everywhere. The situation is serious, yes, but not hopeless. The defences will hold, have to hold, just need more time, more information, more clarity. Can't make hasty decisions. Can't let the enemy force your hand. That's what they want. Want you to panic. Want you to commit your reserves prematurely. Then they hit you somewhere else. No. Stay calm. Stay patient. Wait. Rommel calls. He's heard about the invasion. He's turned around, driving back to France as fast as he can. But it's a long drive. Over 800 kilometres. He won't arrive until evening at earliest, maybe later. Traffic, roads damaged by bombing, checkpoints. Everything slows him down. And by the time he gets back to his headquarters, what will be left to command? What will the situation be? On the phone, his voice is strained, frustrated, angry even, but controlled, disciplined, professional. My Führer, this is the invasion, the real invasion. We must commit the reserves now, immediately. Every moment we delay makes victory less likely. Hitler's response is cool, calm. The situation is under control, Rommel. The Atlantic Wall is doing its job. The defenders are fighting well. We're assessing the situation, making sure this isn't a diversion before we commit our mobile reserves. We can't allow the Allies to manipulate us. Can't let them dictate our strategy. You'll be briefed fully when you arrive. Return to your post. We'll discuss it then. But my Führer, Rommel starts. The scale of the operation. I'm aware of the scale, Hitler interrupts. 5 beaches, large force, impressive. But possibly a deception. Probably a deception. We must be certain before we commit. Return to your post, Rommel. That's an order. The call ends. Hitler sits back. Rommel is emotional. Always has been. Brilliant tactician. Excellent in mobile warfare. Knows how to use armour. Knows how to exploit breakthroughs. But emotional. Impulsive. Reacts too quickly. Doesn't think about the strategic picture. Just wants to attack. Always attacking. That works sometimes. Worked in North Africa. Worked in France in 1940. But not always. Not when the enemy is expecting it. Not when it's part of their plan. Afternoon stretches on. The sun moves across the sky. In the Berghof, time feels slow, disconnected. The maps on the walls show battles. The reports describe fighting. But here, it's quiet. Orderly. Tea is served at 3 p.m. Someone plays piano in another room. Soft classical music. Mozart, maybe. Or Beethoven. Hitler likes Beethoven. Powerful. German. The sound drifts through the hallways. Surreal. The contrast between this peaceful mountain retreat and the carnage in Normandy is jarring, disturbing even, but nobody mentions it. This is normal. This is how it works. The Führer makes decisions from here, from this removed, quiet place. That's how command works. That's how it's always worked. Leaders in the rear, soldiers at the front, distance, perspective. The ability to see the whole battlefield instead of just one sector. Supposedly. Except command requires information, and information from Normandy is fragmentary, delayed, contradictory. One report says the defences are holding, another says they're collapsing, one says Allied casualties are heavy, another says the Allies are advancing rapidly with light losses. Which is true? All of it? None of it? Impossible to know. The fog of war is thick, impenetrable. And Hitler, sitting in the mountains, hundreds of kilometres from the battle, is trying to see through it, trying to make decisions based on incomplete, unreliable information, trying to outthink an enemy he can't see, fighting a battle he can't observe, commanding forces he can't directly control. Around 4 p.m. he makes a decision, authorises the movement of 2 panzer divisions, not the full reserve, just 2, the 12th SS Panzer Division and Panzerlehr Division. They can move toward Normandy, carefully, ready to redirect if Calais develops, ready to pull back if this turns out to be a trap. It's a compromise, a partial commitment, better than nothing, but not enough, not nearly enough. The field commanders know this, but orders are orders. The divisions begin to move, but it's late afternoon now, 4 p.m. The sun won't set for hours. They'll have to move under Allied air superiority. The roads will be watched, monitored. Any movement during daylight will be spotted immediately, attacked, strafed by fighters, bombed by fighter bombers. Movement is dangerous, costly, suicidal almost, but they have to try, have to follow orders. So the columns form up, start rolling. Tanks, half-tracks, trucks, artillery, support vehicles, thousands of soldiers moving north and west toward the sound of battle. As the panzers start to roll, Allied reconnaissance aircraft spot them. Within minutes, fighter bombers are on the way. P-47 Thunderbolts, Hawker Typhoons, Republic P-47s with their distinctive profile, heavily armed, rockets, bombs, 50 caliber machine guns, 8 of them per aircraft. They're designed for exactly this mission: ground attack, tank killing, close air support, and they're good at it. Very good. The panzer columns spread out. Try to use cover, trees, buildings, anything to break up their silhouettes, anything to avoid being easy targets. But the roads are exposed, the fields are open, and the aircraft have all the time in the world. No German fighters to oppose them, no anti-aircraft guns in sufficient quantities, just targets, hundreds of targets. The aircraft circle, line up, dive, fire. Rockets streak down, trailing smoke. Explosions, tanks burning, half-tracks destroyed, men dying, screaming, running, burning. The advance slows, stops. The division commanders order dispersion. Off the roads, hide under trees, wait for darkness. They'll have to move at night, when the aircraft can't see them, when they have a chance. But that's hours away, and every hour the Allies are consolidating, digging in, bringing up more forces, building strength. Hitler doesn't know the details of this. Not yet. Not immediately. He just knows he's authorized movement, given the order, done his part. Now it's up to the field commanders, up to the troops. They're good troops. The best. Elite formations. SS divisions. Well-trained, well-equipped, motivated, fanatical even. They'll fight. They'll stop the invasion. They have to. Germany needs them to. The Reich depends on it. Everything depends on it. Evening comes. The light fades. The mountains turn purple in the dusk. Long shadows stretch across the grounds. The temperature drops. Always cooler in the mountains, even in summer. Dinner is prepared. Hitler eats a small meal, soup, bread, some vegetables. He's vegetarian now, has been for years, says it helps his digestion, says meat makes him sluggish. Maybe it does. Maybe it's just another one of his quirks, his eccentricities. He has many. The vegetarianism, the hatred of smoking, the strange hours, the reliance on medications, all of it part of the persona, part of the mystique, the Führer who lives differently, who transcends normal human weaknesses, who channels pure will into action. During dinner, more reports. The situation in Normandy is stabilizing, sort of. The Atlantic wall forces are still in action, still fighting, pockets of resistance, strong points that haven't fallen, but the Allies have firm control of all 5 beaches now, no question. They're linking them up, creating a continuous front, pushing inland. The beachhead is maybe 10 kilometres deep in places, deeper in others, not much compared to the vast expanse of France. But it's a foothold, and footholds can be expanded, can be reinforced, can become breakout points. The evening briefing is at 8 p.m, later than usual. Hitler wanted to wait for Rommel, to hear his assessment, his recommendations, but Rommel still isn't back, still driving, somewhere on the roads between Germany and France, out of contact, moving as fast as he can, but it's not fast enough, can't be fast enough. The battle doesn't wait, history doesn't wait. The briefing goes ahead without him. Jodl presents the situation, uses maps, coloured pins, markers, shows Allied positions in red, German positions in blue, the gaps in grey, the threats, the opportunities, the unknowns. The 21st Panzer Division launched a counterattack near Caen earlier today. Around 4 p.m. reached almost to the beach, got between the British and Canadians, cut them off. For a few hours it looked promising, like the counterattack might succeed, might split the invasion, might create an opportunity to defeat the Allies in detail, but it couldn't sustain it. Got hit by naval gunfire, massive shells from battleships and cruisers offshore. The Navy can see everything, can shoot at anything. The panzers had no defence against that, no way to fight back, no counter to naval guns. So they withdrew, pulled back, took casualties, lost tanks, lost men, didn't throw the British back, didn't restore the situation, just attacked, fought, failed, retreated. Not good at all, but not catastrophic either. The day isn't over, the battle is just beginning. Takes time to defeat an invasion, takes days, weeks maybe. Can't judge success or failure after just 12 hours. After just one day. Have to be patient. Have to wait for the counterattacks to develop. For the reserves to arrive. For the full German response to materialize. Then we'll see. Then we'll know. Hitler asks about Calais again. Still nothing. Still quiet. Still no signs of the real invasion. Jodl confirms. No activity at Calais, no signs of preparation, no increased reconnaissance, no unusual shipping movements, nothing. It's quiet, normal, as if nothing is happening. This bothers Hitler, nags at him. If Normandy is a diversion, Calais should be heating up by now. The main invasion should be launching soon, tonight, tomorrow at latest. But there's nothing, just silence. Just normalcy, which means what? What does it mean? Either the Allies are being very patient, very disciplined, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for him to commit everything to Normandy. Then they'll strike. Or Normandy is the main invasion after all, and there is no Calais attack coming, and he's been wrong this whole time, wrong about the strategy, wrong about the Allied intentions, wrong about everything. He doesn't voice this doubt, can't, won't. Because if he's wrong, if he held back the reserves for nothing, if he let the critical hours slip away based on a miscalculation, then it's his fault, his failure, his mistake. And he can't admit that. Not to his staff, not to himself. Because the Führer doesn't make mistakes. The Führer's judgment is infallible. The Führer's strategic vision is superior. Has to be. The entire system depends on it. On his authority, his certainty, his will. If that's questioned, if that's undermined, then everything collapses. The whole structure, the Reich itself. The briefing ends. Hitler retires to his study, sits at his desk. The maps are there, always maps, spread across the surface. Europe, France, the Atlantic coast, Normandy highlighted now. Pins marking positions, arrows showing movements. It's all so abstract, so clean, just symbols on paper, but it represents real things, real battles, real men dying, real blood soaking into French soil, real history being made, and he's here, looking at maps, making decisions that affect all of it, that determine who lives and who dies, who wins and who loses, what history remembers. He stares at the maps, France, the coast, Normandy, Calais. What is he missing? What is the enemy thinking? If he were Eisenhower, what would he do? Would he really put all his forces into Normandy, risk everything on one landing, put all the eggs in one basket? Or would he split the attack, hit multiple places, keep the defender guessing, keep the reserves paralyzed with uncertainty? That makes sense. That's what he would do if he were Eisenhower. Multiple attacks, multiple threats, force the enemy to divide his forces, weaken him everywhere, then exploit the gap. But so far there's only Normandy, only the 5 beaches, only one invasion. So either the second attack is coming soon, at Calais or somewhere else, or this is it. This is the only invasion. And everything else was deception, misdirection, designed to make him think there would be multiple attacks, so he'd hold back, so he'd wait, so he'd hesitate. Exactly what he's doing. The more he thinks, the more confused he becomes, the more uncertain. War is like this, even for leaders, maybe especially for leaders. You can study it, plan for it, prepare for it, but when it happens, it's chaos, fog and friction. Clausewitz called it that. The fog of war, the friction of reality against plans. Nothing goes as planned, nothing is certain, nothing is clear. You make decisions with incomplete information. Hope you're right. Find out later whether you succeeded or failed, whether you saved the nation or doomed it. He takes a pill, something to help him relax. Dr. Morell's prescription. Always Morell. Always pills. Another little pill from another little bottle. He swallows it dry, tastes bitter, chases it with water from a glass on his desk, sits back, waits for it to work, waits for the tension to ease. The tremor is bad tonight, worse than usual, his left hand shaking uncontrollably. He presses it against his thigh, tries to stop it. Can't. Just has to wait for the pill to work, wait for the chemicals to calm his nervous system, wait for the shaking to subside. Stress. Always stress. The weight of the world on his shoulders. Or so it feels. Around 10 p.m., Rommel arrives. Finally. He looks exhausted, frustrated, angry, but controlled, disciplined, Professional as always. He salutes stiffly. My Führer. Hitler gestures to a chair. Sit, Rommel. Tell me what you think. Give me your assessment. Rommel sits, doesn't relax, leans forward, intense, focused. My Führer, this is the invasion. The real one, not a diversion. 5 beaches under assault, massive forces committed, thousands of ships, thousands of aircraft. They're not holding anything back. This is everything they have. This is their main effort. We need to counterattack with everything we have. Now. Tonight. Before they bring up more reinforcements. Before the beachhead becomes unbreakable. You're certain? Hitler asks. His voice is measured. Calm. Testing. This isn't a feint before Calais. I'm certain, Rommel says. The scale, the coordination, the commitment of resources. This is their main effort. Calais was the deception. They wanted us to think Calais, so we'd keep our forces there, keep the panzers there, while they hit Normandy, where we're weaker, where we have fewer divisions, fewer strong points. It's brilliant, really. They deceived us completely. Hitler considers this, studies Rommel's face. The desert fox is experienced, proven, smart, knows how to read a battlefield. But he's also been wrong before, thought the weather was too bad for an invasion. Left his post, went home. If his judgment was wrong about that, maybe it's wrong about this too. Maybe he's panicking, overreacting, seeing what the enemy wants him to see. The reserves are moving, Hitler says. The 12th SS and Panzer Lehr. They'll be in position tomorrow. They'll counterattack, drive the Allies back into the sea, restore the situation. 2 divisions, Rommel says. His voice is tight, controlled but barely. Against how many Allied divisions? They landed at least 5 divisions today, maybe 6, maybe more. They'll land more tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that. They have inexhaustible resources, endless supplies, total air superiority, total naval superiority. 2 divisions won't be enough. We need every panzer division we have. Need them all moving toward Normandy, now, immediately, tonight. And if you're wrong, Hitler asks, leans back, studies Rommel. If this is a diversion, if we commit everything to Normandy and then they hit Calais, what then? Then we've lost everything, lost the war, given them exactly what they want. Then we've lost anyway, Rommel says. His voice is firm, almost defiant, almost insubordinate, but not quite. If they establish a firm beachhead anywhere, if they get ashore and stay ashore, we've lost. The only chance is to throw them back now, immediately, while they're vulnerable, while they're still organizing, while they're still weak. Every hour we wait makes them stronger, makes us weaker, makes victory less likely. By tomorrow, it might already be too late. Hitler stands, walks to the window, looks out at the darkness. The mountains are invisible now, just blackness. The stars are out, clear night. Beautiful, probably, if you cared about such things, if you had time to notice. He's tired, so tired. The pills help, but they don't really help. Just mask the exhaustion, just keep him functioning, barely functioning. He's been at this for 11 years. Chancellor in 1933. Führer in 1934, war in 1939, 5 years of war, constant pressure, constant decisions, constant crises, the weight of a nation, the weight of a civilization, the weight of history itself, or so he tells himself, believes himself to be, the defender of Europe, the bulwark against Bolshevism, the architect of a new order, the saviour of the German people. But right now, In this moment, he's just a tired man trying to decide whether to commit his reserves, just a man who might be making the biggest mistake of his life. We wait, he says finally. Doesn't turn around, just speaks to the window, to the darkness. We'll see how the situation develops tomorrow. If the Allies expand the beachhead significantly, if they break out, if they threaten to overrun our defences, then we'll commit more forces. But not yet. Not tonight. We need more information, more clarity. Can't make hasty decisions. Rommel's jaw tightens. You can hear it. The tension, the barely suppressed frustration. But he doesn't argue further. Knows it's pointless. The Führer has decided. The Führer's word is final. That's how it works. That's the system. Yes, my Führer, he says, voice flat, resigned. Return to your headquarters, Hitler says, still not turning around. Coordinate the counterattack. Use the forces you have. Use them well. Stop them. Throw them back. Do your duty. Rommel salutes. Even though Hitler isn't looking, force of habit, training, discipline leaves. He's angry, frustrated, despairing maybe, but obedient. That's the system. That's how it works. The Führer decides. Everyone else obeys, even when they think he's wrong, even when the decision might lose the war, even when history might judge them for their obedience. Hitler returns to his desk, sits. The maps mock him, show him a situation he doesn't fully understand, a battle he can't see, an enemy he can't read, an outcome he can't predict. He's made his decision, held back the reserves, waited for certainty, for confirmation, for proof that Normandy is the main invasion. But certainty never comes. Not in war, not ever. You decide, you act, you hope, you find out later, much later, when it's too late to change anything, when history has already been written. He takes his sleeping medication, another dose of phenobarbital, stronger than last night, stronger than usual. He needs sleep, real sleep, not the fitful half-sleep where he wakes every hour worrying, analysing, second-guessing, deep, dreamless sleep, where he doesn't have to think about Normandy, or Calais, or anything, where the world disappears, where the war disappears, where responsibility and pressure and stress all disappear. Just sleep, just nothing. The pill takes effect quickly. Within minutes, he's asleep. Deep under, deeper than last night. The world fades away. The war fades away. The maps, the reports, the decisions. All of it fading. Just darkness. Just nothing. Sleep. And while he sleeps, in Normandy, the Allies consolidate. Work through the night. Never stopping, never resting. Bring up more troops, more supplies, more tanks, more artillery, more everything. Build the beachhead, expand it, reinforce it, connect the separate beaches into one continuous front, link up with the paratroopers, secure the flanks, prepare for the breakout, work through the night because they know they have to build strength quickly, know the German counterattack is coming, know they need to be ready, need to be strong enough to absorb it, strong enough to survive it, strong enough to defeat it. June 7th arrives. Dawn breaks over Normandy. Day 2 of the invasion. The sun rises over the beaches, over the destroyed obstacles, over the dead. So many dead. German, American, British, Canadian. Bodies in the surf, bodies on the sand, bodies in the fields and hedgerows. The price of D-Day. The cost of liberation. Thousands dead. Thousands more wounded. But the Allies are ashore. The invasion succeeded. The Atlantic Wall failed. History turned. Hitler wakes late again. After 10 a.m. The phenobarbital worked. He slept well. Deep sleep, dreamless sleep. Feels rested, but groggy, heavy. Takes time to shake off the medication. More time than yesterday. Stronger dose means slower recovery. Coffee, lots of coffee, black and strong. He drinks cup after cup, trying to cut through the fog, trying to think clearly. The morning briefing is full of bad news, all bad news. The Allies landed more divisions overnight. The beachhead is expanding, growing. The Atlantic Wall forces are being pushed back, overwhelmed, running out of ammunition, running out of men. The 12th SS Panzer Division counterattacked at dawn, near Caen. Heavy fighting, fierce fighting, some progress initially, but then naval gunfire. Always the naval gunfire. Destroyers and cruisers offshore with perfect observation, perfect accuracy, smashing every German advance, destroying every concentration. The panzers can't operate, can't maneuver, can't do what they're designed to do. Some progress, Jodl says, but not enough, not nearly enough. The British are too strong, too well supported, too well supplied. And Calais, Hitler asks again, still asking, still hoping, still nothing? Still nothing, Jodl confirms. No activity, no preparations, no signs of imminent assault. Quiet. Normal. Nothing. Hitler stares at the map. Normandy is covered in red markers now. Allied positions, Allied units, Allied advances, spreading like a stain, growing, expanding, and Calais is blank, untouched, quiet, which has to mean no. Still doesn't mean anything. Could still be coming. The Allies are patient, disciplined. They can wait, can afford to wait. Let Normandy develop. Let the Germans commit. Then hit Calais. Classic strategy. He's not falling for it. Not yet. But the doubt is growing, creeping in, despite his efforts to suppress it, despite his certainty, despite his will. The doubt is there. Quiet but persistent. What if Rommel is right? What if Normandy is the main invasion? What if he's wasted critical hours, critical days? What if the war is being lost right now while he hesitates? He pushes the doubt away. Can't afford it. Can't allow it. Has to maintain confidence. Has to project certainty. For the staff. For the generals. For the Reich. The Führer doesn't doubt. Doesn't waver. Doesn't make mistakes. Can't make mistakes. Mustn't make mistakes. Days pass. June 7th, June 8th, June 9th. The pattern continues. Allies advance. Germans counterattack. Allies absorb the counterattacks. Keep advancing, slowly, grinding, costly. British and Canadian forces are fighting for Caen. Americans are pushing across the Cotentin Peninsula, heading for Cherbourg, the port, the prize. The beachhead expands, deepens, becomes permanent, becomes a front. The invasion succeeded. No question now. It succeeded. Hitler doesn't fully accept this. Keeps expecting something. Keeps thinking there's another phase coming. Another landing. Another attack. Somewhere. But it doesn't come. Normandy is it. Normandy is the invasion. The only invasion. And he held back the reserves. And now it's too late. The opportunity passed. The window closed. The Allies are ashore. The war in France has begun. And Germany is fighting on two fronts again. East and West. Just like World War I. The nightmare scenario. The unwinnable situation. Later, much later, historians will write about this. About Hitler's sleep on the night of June 5th to 6th. About his hesitation on June 6th. About the decision to hold back the panzers. They'll debate whether it mattered. Whether releasing the panzers immediately would have changed anything. Most will conclude it wouldn't have. The Allied superiority was too great. the planning too thorough, the execution too professional, the deception too effective. The panzers would have died on the roads under air attack, or on the beaches under naval gunfire, or in the hedgerows under combined arms assaults. They would have fought, killed, died, but not changed the outcome. The invasion would have succeeded anyway, maybe with higher Allied casualties, maybe with more delay, but succeeded, inevitably. The material balance was too lopsided. The Germans were outnumbered, outgunned, outsupplied, out everything. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point isn't whether the outcome would have been different. Maybe the point is the decision itself, the hesitation, the inability to act quickly when action was needed, the disconnect between the mountain retreat and the desperate battle on the beaches, the faith in his own analysis over the judgment of experienced commanders on the scene, the certainty that he knew better, that he could see what others couldn't, that his strategic vision was superior to everyone else's, the refusal to listen, the refusal to adapt, the refusal to admit that maybe, just maybe, he was wrong. Pride. That's what it was. Pride and isolation. Sitting in the mountains, looking at maps, playing God with pins and markers and coloured flags, while real soldiers fought and died on real beaches, making decisions hours too late, days too late, based on theories instead of reality, on what he wanted to be true instead of what was true, on his preconceptions instead of evidence, on his ego instead of wisdom. The night of June 5th into June 6th, the night he slept while the invasion began, that night became symbolic, the moment when everything changed, when the war in the West was lost, not because of the sleep. The sleep was just a symptom, just a symbol. The real problem was deeper, structural, systemic. A dictatorship where one man made all decisions, where no one could question him, where his judgment was absolute, final, infallible, even when wrong, especially when wrong. A system that couldn't adapt, couldn't correct, couldn't admit error. Because error was impossible. The Führer didn't make errors. Therefore, whatever happened was right, was intended, was part of the plan, even when it clearly wasn't. You, right now, lying in your bed, warm, safe, comfortable, you're free from that weight, free from those decisions. You can sleep without bombs, without invasions, without the fate of nations resting on whether you wake up on time, whether you make the right call, whether you see through the enemy's deception. You have peace, real peace, not the false peace of a dictator's mountain retreat, not the illusion of control in an underground bunker, but actual peace, the peace that comes from not being at war, from not having to make choices that kill thousands, from being able to close your eyes and simply rest. The Atlantic Wall fell 80 years ago. Hitler's hesitation, his miscalculation, his pride, his isolation. All of it is history now, fixed, unchangeable, written. But the lesson echoes across the decades. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Isolation breeds delusion. Certainty blinds. And sometimes the greatest mistakes come not from action, but from inaction, from waiting, from hesitating, from being so afraid of being wrong that you fail to be right, from being so certain you're right that you can't see you're wrong. Close your eyes now. Let the story fade. Let history settle into memory, into lessons, into understanding. You're here, now, in the present, where the beaches are quiet, where the bunkers are empty, where wars are studied instead of fought, where decisions are analysed instead of made. Sleep well, sleep deeply, Sleep without the weight of command, without the burden of decision, without the fear of being wrong. Just sleep. Simple, pure, complete. Rest. The war ended. Eventually, May 1945, Hitler didn't live to see it. Made his own exit, his own final decision, in a bunker under Berlin, surrounded by rubble, by defeat, by the consequences of his decisions. All his decisions, Normandy, Stalingrad, Poland, all of it. The war he started, the war he lost, the Reich he built, the Reich that fell. And the world moved on, rebuilt, learned, or tried to learn, tried to understand what had happened, why it happened, how to prevent it from happening again. The beaches remained, still there, in Normandy, peaceful now, beautiful even. Tourist sites, memorials, cemeteries, places to remember, to honour, to never forget. The price of freedom, the cost of tyranny, the thin line between civilization and chaos, between democracy and dictatorship, between wisdom and madness. But tonight, this night, you're safe. The distance between you and those events is vast. 8 decades, 80 years, a lifetime, several lifetimes. The men who fought there are mostly gone now. The generation that lived through it is fading. Soon it will be just history, just stories, just words on pages and images in documentaries and voices in podcasts. The visceral memory will fade. The terror, the confusion, the weight of those decisions, all of it becoming abstract, academic, distant. But for one more night we remember. We tell the story. We honour the moment by understanding it, by seeing how it happened, how decisions were made, how mistakes compounded, how history turned on moments of hesitation, of misunderstanding, of one man's certainty in the face of evidence, of sleep when wakefulness was needed, of waiting when action was required, of pride when humility was wisdom. And now, having heard it, having understood it, you can let it go, can return to your own moment, your own peace, your own sleep. The history is told. The lesson is there. Take it or leave it. Learn from it or forget it. But either way, rest, because you've earned it. By being here. By listening. By caring enough to understand what happened. Why it mattered. How it shaped the world you live in. The world where you can sleep in peace. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. The story is over. For tonight. For now. The war is won. The peace is kept. And you're here. Safe. Warm. At rest. Let consciousness fade. Let thought dissolve. Let the maps disappear. Let the beaches grow quiet. Let history become memory. Let memory become dreams. Let dreams become sleep. Gentle. Natural. Complete. The way it should be. The way it is. Right now. In this moment. Here. Now. Safe. Peaceful. At rest. Sleep.